Sorry about that, guys. I had a tiny house guest who had to go back to bed. So, we were talking about Poltergeist today, and so they were talking about the levitation of beds, the 27 visual witnesses of the different phenomenon observed, and where a bed shook from bottom to top with two teenagers on it while their two mothers tried to hold it in place. That's kind of crazy. And this is all in like scientific research. How crazy. Okay. So, a couple of my stories about me experiencing poltergeist activity. I experienced activity very young. I believed I started experiencing activity around 9 years old after I came home from Mexico. And the activity that I experienced was my closet door slowly opening. Um, it was almost to the point where you thought that you were kind of crazy, but you weren't. You could clearly see this just slowly slide open. Um, and I honestly didn't want to know what was in that closet. Um, I think a couple times I ran out of my room, and I went to my mom and I was like, oh my gosh, Mom, there's something in my room. My closet's opening. And she would always send me back. Like, she wouldn't even check the closet or close the closet. She would just send me back to bed. Um, so that was one experience that I had. Um, Another experience I had, I think I was a pre-teenager and my niece was sleeping over and the same thing happened. We had new closet doors. This time they were mirrored, so they were just a little bit different. And they slowly opened and it was it was I was so terrified. I thought I was the only one there, but I wasn't. So my niece was there and she also saw it. um I don't know if we ever talked about it. Like, I don't remember ever talking about it with her, but um that is a couple of experiences from my childhood. And then as an adult, I'm fascinated with the paranormal, hence this podcast right now. And we went to the Delta King and we were hoping for some paranormal activity. It was our second time there. And I have a video on this, by the way, if you want to check it out if you missed this live. And I ordered a drink. It had a bug in it. And so I had to politely send it back and get a new drink. And the drink was like further away. So I kind of had to like get up out of my seat and like reach for it. But it moved towards me a few inches, like a few good inches. And I was so afraid and shocked that I could not talk at all. Um, there's no talking for me whatsoever. And I thought the person with me would have saw, and he didn't. He was too into his food and he missed it. And that was the perfect opportunity. And I still wonder if anybody else had seen it because it was a crowded restaurant. And it wasn't like we're in a secluded like corner. It was pretty busy. I still can't believe it happened. But what are your stories? Do you have any stories? You can feel free to let me know in the chat. Otherwise, I think I have a couple stories for you. Um, let's see. I pulled up. Let's see, 3 cases of documented like activity. Okay. let's talk about this because this is like kind of crazy. So this is from the website liveabout.com, and the story is titled "The Thornton Health Poltergeist." And let me just pull this a little bit closer to me so I could talk a little bit better. Okay. In the 1970s in Thornton Heath, England, a family was tormented by poltergeist phenomena that started one August night when they were woken in the middle of the night by a blaring bedside radio that had somehow turned itself on, tuned to a foreign language station. This was the beginning of a string of events that lasted nearly 4 years. And do you know, I've actually had I haven't had the radio, but I've had the TV turn on. Um, my dad's excuse was someone had like a giant remote and was doing it from like afar, which is kind of creepy because then I was like, oh my God, is someone like stalking me or like watching me from afar and then like turning on a TV just to see how, you know. But, anyways, the story continues. A lampshade repeatedly was knocked to the floor by unaided hands. During the Christmas season of 1972, an ornate an ornament, was hurled across the room, smashing into the husband's forehead as he flopped into an armchair, reports Haunted Croydon. The Christmas tree began to shake violently. Come the new year, and there were footsteps in the bedroom where there was no one there, and one night the couple's son awoke to find a man in an old-fashioned dress staring threatening at him. That's frightening, and I will say as a parent, yes, my child has said something similar. The family's fear grew as they entertained friends one night. There was a loud knocking at the front door. The living room door was then flung open, and all the house's lights came on. Creepy. Having the house blessed failed to rid the house of the phenomenon. You know, I've done well. I haven't blessed my house, but I've definitely saged it. Especially after being a hospice nurse. Objects flew through the air. Loud noises were heard, and the family would sometimes hear a noise which suggested some large piece of furniture had crashed to the floor. When they went to investigate, nothing would be disturbed. That is frightening. A medium who was consultant told the family that the house was haunted by a farmer of the name of Chatterton, nice name, who considered the family trespassers on his property. Well, isn't that always the story? An investigation bore out the fact that Chatterton had indeed lived in the house in the mid 18th century. Chatterton's wife now joined in causing mayhem, and often the tenant's wife would be followed up the stairs at night by an elderly gray haired woman wearing a pinafore with her hair tied back in a bun. If looked at, she would disappear back into the shadows. The family even reported seeing the farmer appear on the television screens wearing a black jacket with wide pointed lapels, high neck shirt, and black cravat. That's like, could you imagine that popping up on your TV? Oosh. After the family moved out of the house, the poltergeist activity ceased, and no one have been reported by subsequent residents. See, you guys, that would make me so upset. Like, if you went through this traumatic event of a haunting and you had to move, and then someone else moved into your home, like, and then nothing happened, I would be like, what the heck? Was it me or was it the house? You know what I mean? Or was it just my sanity? Um, my mother, she was the more spiritual one. She never experienced any weird activity. My dad has seen ghosts, but he's never experienced any crazy activity. Um, Now my son, I don't know. I do actually have a story. I think the last or second to last activity that I had was my first husband. Um, when he went on to heaven, my necklace actually fell off of my neck and I thought it was broken. It wasn't broken, the clasp was open, like, you know, and if you flicked it back to close, it never closed. It just stayed opened. And I honestly, I had to buy a new chain. Um, so that's like another example of poltergeist activity. So I know this is a little bit short. I'm sorry that we had another house guest, but things happen, just like, whatever. What do you think of the spread? Before we go real fast, let me look at my notes and see what the message of the day is. So we got duplicity, false love, misunderstanding. I definitely believe that. A breach of faith. I think this is more pertaining to me and my own personal life than message of the day. Because it's speaking a lot to me, and I don't know if it's just the cards or just my bias. But what do you guys think? What do you guys think of the reverse Two of Swords, the reverse Two of Cups, a reverse King of Swords, a reverse Ten of Swords, the Nine of Cups, and then the Three of Cups? Okay, guys, that's the show for today. We'll be back tomorrow morning again at 12:30. Thanks for hanging out with us. We'll see you again. Thanks, house guests. And if you have any ghost stories, we'd love to hear them. Please submit them to angelholdings84@gmail.com. This episode was also brought to you by Off the Market Real Estate. We are looking for a cash flow Section 8. If any wholesalers have any contracts for a cash flow Section 8, we would love to hear from you. Again, email angelholdings84 or angelholdings84@gmail.com. And then we also have a turnkey Florida house on contract available for assignment. $300,000 for seller finance at 3 years. If you're interested on that, it is in, I believe it's Orcas, Florida. Email me. I'll give you the details. It's pretty sweet, turnkey in a gated community. Thank you for tuning in, and I'll see you next time, house guests. Have a great day.